Steph Curry had a masterclass last night with 56 points and sends the Orlando Magic to 29-32 as they are the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, 4.5 games back from the Pistons. Things are not looking good. They showed some fight last night, but we're going to talk about it all, plus the amazing performance by Steph Curry. Guys, welcome into Magic Digest. I'm your host, Patrick Previty. This is your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content here on YouTube. Now, I say this in just about every single video, but if you are not subscribed, make sure to do so. 75% of you who are watching these videos aren't, so join the 25%. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of March. Okay, so this was just worst case scenario, right? When this team shows some fight, has a great offensive first half, and Paolo goes for 41 points. Of course, Steph Curry has one of the best games, at least statistically, of his career. A vintage night. He had 56 points, and he made 12 threes. I believe he was 12 of 16 from the three-point line and was like 16 of 25 from the floor. He played extremely well. The Warriors are rolling. They're 7-1 since they got Jimmy Butler, and the Orlando Magic didn't have anybody else offensively outside of Franz and Paolo. Let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into this game. Okay. So the first player off the bench was Jett Howard. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. KCP had 0 points and got cooked the whole night, but he obviously wasn't the only player on Steph Curry. And Jimmy Butler didn't actually have a huge statistical impact as far as the box score. When you take a look at what he was able to do, he didn't have a ton of points. I believe he only had 5 points, 1 of 7 shooting, 7 assists in 32 minutes. Still impactful, and he made that team is completely different with him now there. But obviously not like this team just overpowered the Magic. And Quentin Post came off the bench for Golden State, and that was a clear difference maker. He was the center for the Warriors and kind of was able to make them a bigger, more physical team. Not bigger than the Magic, I'd say, but a team that the Magic couldn't just push over, and not at all times could Paolo just go into the paint, get his shot, get his own thing going, especially when they would put 5 guys in the paint or anything like that. But they were a very physical team, and when they moved Draymond to the 4, he played pretty well, and the Warriors just had it going. Curry had 22 points in the third quarter. The third quarter was the big quarter of the night. The Warriors outscored the Magic in that quarter 40-21. At one point, it was 30-9 in the quarter. The Magic ended the third on a bit of a run, and that was able to give them some a chance to make this a game in the fourth quarter. And it was a game late in the game. And if anybody's wondering about the 2-minute report, the Warriors have been absolved. Nothing ended up going awry. The refs believe that no call was the right, or excuse me, was all the calls that they made were the right ones. So nothing came up on the 2-minute report, but I know a lot of people were looking at that. Okay, let's take a look at the box score. So now you get everything after I told you a little bit about what happened. Obviously, the Magic did not have very much help outside of their main 2 guys. We haven't had a ton of games like this year where it has just been Franz and Paolo, at least, because they just haven't played a lot, right? But we've had other times where there's just a clear third. I guess the clear third would be a guy like Cole Anthony, who miraculously played on a bum knee somehow, some way, and he had a nice game with 11 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds. He even had 3 blocks. He played well, but outside of that, nobody else was really able to provide any other spark, and obviously you see KCP with the goose egg. Unfortunately, our front court scoring is also, or maybe I shouldn't say front court scoring. I think the scoring from the center position a lot of the times is a bit too up and down. Bataze, Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter Jr., they combined for 23 points. That's okay, but we clearly don't have a scorer in that area at that position, and that's just is what it is at this point. We're way too deep into the season to even be addressing that, and we're past the deadline. And 2 of those guys got re-signed in the offseason. Now, Tristan da Silva only played about 3 minutes in this game. I don't believe I saw anything about him not feeling well or just something going on as far as maybe a lingering injury. Obviously, he had that very funny moment a while ago where he just entered the game, played in 1 minute, and just was not feeling good when a bug was going around, right? Like a big sickness going around, I believe the whole NBA, but the Magic were victims of that as well. And yeah, I don't think that was the situation for tonight. I think most just went with Jett Howard, and he just wanted to tap tap him in, and said that was the first guy off the bench. I think De Silva ended up losing some of the minutes for that. Jamahl Mosley was asked after the game why he chose Jet Howard. He just said, I think the opportunity for Jet to get some time was tonight. And I think he did a very good job in that first half of coming out and playing and stepping into his shot, defending the right way. I think he did a very good job there. Now, he does go on to say that they'll have to continue to assess the game film, see exactly what kind of impact he was able to have, and maybe if that is something that they decide to do going forward. Obviously, the Orlando Magic would have liked to get this win, and be able to say that they could get back on track. And with Apollo 40 piece, that there's still things to run home about as far as their offense was concerned. This team had the highest offensive rating that they've had all year in a loss at 118. And honestly, they didn't really shoot so poorly to the point where you think, oh my God, that no wonder they lost. They scored 115 points in this game. And it was really just the fact that they could not keep up with the Warriors' onslaught that was led by Steph Curry by the time that third quarter hit. It was just too much. If you look at the rest of the scoring for the Warriors, there wasn't really all that many other players. And excuse me, I said earlier, Steph Curry was 12 of 16 from three. He was 12 of 19, so he was really putting it up. But still 16 of 25 from the floor. The team shot just under 40% from three. Obviously, they made 11 threes, so Steph Curry made more threes than the Magic did. But that wasn't really the issue. There are some possessions when I look at this offense where things get a little stagnant, and if we don't have Franz or Paolo getting their shot or at least creating something on offense, we don't have anything. But I still felt like this offense was fine. It was just one of those games where you kind of leave it up to, well, Steph Curry took over and we just weren't able to get things done at the very end. Now, this is obviously a really, really bad and alarming loss, but I do think one of the more positive things is just the respect that at least Jamahl Mosley and some players on this team are getting. Steph Curry did say after the game, I've never played for him, but obviously, and this is in reference to Jamahl Mosley, but obviously he seems very no-nonsense. Orlando's gotten better, and I know a lot of that is because of him. So he said these comments after the game, which leads me into the next and final topic of this video, and that is the assessment of what is going on with the Orlando Magic as far as the front office or coaching. Now, I think when people say that it's the front office, maybe including myself in that, it comes down to, well, this team is just not built correctly. We don't have guys who can hit shots, make shots on a consistent enough basis, and this offense hasn't been able to get under their feet. We had a big enough sample size, and we didn't make a move at the deadline, and maybe we were wrong in the offseason about KCP lighting a spark, right? Seems like he got his payday and he's faded, but we recognize that was not the best decision. And that is where one side of the argument is, that this team is just not constructed right. Yes, making shots is a huge part of the NBA, and this team cannot do it, no matter what, even regardless of what you think of how the offense looks. That's that one side. The other side is, well, Jamahl Mosley had a great couple months with Franz and Paolo out. December, we were able to stay above water, and in January and in the first part of January, we were also able to bring some of that momentum into the new year. And obviously, like when Franz was leading the way, when Paolo was out in November, the team was still pretty good, and they were definitely better than what we're seeing right now. But Jamahl Mosley has not been able to construct an offense around the current guys that we have, and this team is talented. We have two bona fide all-stars on the squad, and for some reason, we're 29-32, 4.5 games back from a Pistons team that is extremely good, playing great basketball, so the odds of us catching them are very small, and unfortunately, it just seems like there's no spark. There's something that's missing, and it could be offensively, it could be with the personnel, but we're looking at Jamahl Mosley, and it feels like those times in December and November and early January were a lot longer than they actually were. It's certainly an interesting thing. We'll have to wait and see how this entire regular season plays out, what happens in the play-in. My official stance right now, guys, I think that the Magic are not going to be one of the top 6 seeds in the Eastern Conference. I don't think that's some sort of hot take. I'm just putting that out there, though, right now. I think the Orlando Magic are going to be in the play-in, and at that point, it's a coin flip, because those things can get a little crazy and a little weird when you got 1 or 2 games, to decide your entire basketball season. But It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting nonetheless. But guys, let me know what you think about the Magic situation down in the comment section below. Love reading you guys' stuff. And as always, I will see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.